Yes, so welcome guys to our class today. This is VueJS Masterclass. So what we'll be doing today is trying to integrate Vue or create a front-end application using Vue. And so I'll use the previous APIs to pull some data to just show you the initial part of Vue. But then after that we'll be doing the following. So in creating a Vue app and maybe showing you the folder structure, I'll just use the previous API, also doing a basic Vue. And then when we come here to integrating a theme on Theme Wagon, that's where now we'll get deeper and we might use open APIs to do these stuffs. Yeah, so one thing I need you to have, just have VS Code installed. Have this VS Code installed, and then you can also install Node.js. If you're using Windows, it's much easier. You just download Node.js, download the latest for Windows. You just download that and run it. Run that executable file, and that's it. So we can now start our lesson. So remember also our themes. We find a theme here. We'll find a nice theme on Theme Wagon, and then integrate it to our Vue application. Also, what I want to ensure you're friends with is Vue.js. So we are doing Vue.js 3. So you can just say Vue 3 docs. I think some days to come Vue 2 will be normal, won't be supported. Yeah, I think there's a message here. So this one will end at least end of this year, and then so from there we'll be having Vue 3. So hoping this also is a Vue 3 documentation. So we'll just use these. Yeah, so in here, so what's Vue? Vue is a JavaScript front-end framework, and what frameworks do, they help us quickly create applications. Like they have those scaffolding of all, like the same way we had Laravel, creating all the scaffolding, all the plugins for JSON, all the third-party items added there, all the plugins and all. So it's just bootstrapping or scaffolding everything, every basic essentials that you need in your application into a folder called vendor. So the same way we're having under Vue, we're having this vendor. You see, like this vendor, these are packages that we will need in our PHP. There are things like fruitcake, gazette, HTTP. So it initially creates this one, and then it means now this one scaffolds everything into a simple app that you can just install or start. And then it has a lot of helper classes also done, so that they might help you in taking a sprint whenever you're developing your app or your APIs in Vue in Laravel. So we discussed all these about the APIs. So in your folder, so Mila also make sure you have SAMP. So you are creating this intern folder inside our SAMP htdocs. So when you go to our SAMP and our SAMP, we're going to our SAMP, and then on htdocs we had this folder called intern, so you can create that. Inside it we had these API docs and frontend, so you can delete this because we won't be using it. And then you can see now we have the frontend. So this is where we want now to create the Vue app. But now the same way we did for the APIs, we didn't create this folder. What happened? We created a Laravel app called API. So also I'll delete this. We will just create a Vue app called frontend. So that's it. So let's go. Now, if you're having VS Code installed, that's the first step. Next step, have Node installed. To check if your Node is installed, you can say npm npm version, I think, or maybe just say npm v or npm version. You'll see the version of the Node package manager. So Node package manager, for our case here, yesterday we were using it as it's a package manager for JavaScript applications. So yesterday we were using Composer as a package manager for PHP application, PHP based. So node or npm or yarn, sometimes we use yarn version, yarn update, blah blah blah. That's a package manager for, it's called node package manager. So it's node based, that means it's a JavaScript package manager. So now let's keep going. So here on documentation, I'll not go through everything, but I'll just try to make sure I have the basic of this app. So let's get let's get it working. So you can see, like in here you have npm. So you can see here, make sure you have the latest version of Node, then run the following command in your command line without this. So this npm initialize Vue latest. It's trying to install the Vue CLI. So there's something we call Vue CLI. So the Vue CLI is what enables us to do things like for example, let me show you. After they run this Vue CLI, that's when they can do this, like npm run dev, npm view. Like basically it's just installing the Vue CLI, which will enable us run our Vue application. So Vue CLI, I can say, is let's say it's an alternative of or in Laravel application you can say it's the same as the artisan. Yeah, so just picture it like that. Say the PHP artisan you are doing yesterday is the Vue CLI now for this case, because you'll see whenever we are running npm run serve to serve our app, that will automatically initiate this Vue CLI to run that application. Also, if you say maybe npm run build to build your application, automatically it will engage this Vue CLI. And also this Vue CLI is what enables us to create the Vue app. Because now if you say Vue create application, which is the command to create a Vue app, is the same. This Vue is the same CLI we are talking about. So this is the first step that we need to take. So just write this on your command line. Just say npm init Vue latest. So we are installing the latest version of Vue CLI. So do that on your CMD. No. Sorry. That's the same as creating a Vue application. It's like they create Vue app. So I think it's trying to create a Vue application. No, so cancel it. Don't do that. It won't run if you don't have that Vue CLI. Canceling the command, you use Control and C. In Mac I think is Control and X, but for this one is Control and C. Mac was Command X or Command C also. So if you say Control plus C, it will cancel the command. Let me go to introduction. We try from Vue CLI. We start from Vue CLI. Or probably right now on Vue 3 we don't need to install that. Am I missing out something? Where is installation? Quick start. Wait. What is Vue? So it's important also to go through this. When you're going through the documentation, just be checking out these explanations here, like how we do Vue and stuff. But for my case, just try this command, try that command. I think a lot changed from Vue 2 to Vue 3. Let's now go with what we have on the documentation, so that we just do the exact things that we need, the exact way the things need to be done. So let's go to quick start here. And then, so what is required is we have Node. You can create a single app application. Yeah, run this and let me know if it runs on your machine. Let's try that. Yeah, so I think a lot of steps have, because this is the first step, so probably a lot has changed. So if you just run that command, npm init Vue latest, if you had already written that command and executed, you just need to press the upper the up arrow, and then it will bring back the command, and then you just type it. So when you say npm init Vue latest, it will ask you VueJS, the progressive JavaScript framework, just telling you about the framework, the title. Now here you will see this Vue project. This is like the title of the app, the project name that you want to create. So for our case, we are creating the student management, but we don't know exactly the app that we land in creating. So let's just say front end. Just write front end in there. If someone is left behind, kindly remember to update us on the call so that at least we can wait for you. So just write the name front end, then enter. So there's something called TypeScript. So it's not mandatory that you use TypeScript, but it's kind of important these days to learn TypeScript. So at your own time you can learn TypeScript. So it's the same JavaScript, but now it's kind of sensitive to types. Yeah, sensitive to types. For example, if you're doing something with an integer, you need to specify the type of data type expected. So it's tied to avoid a lot of errors. You find that some of the enterprise applications being created, they are using TypeScript to ensure that whenever you're using something like if it's a string, you predefine it. If it's something like a text, you predefine it. So it's strictly coupled, or it's strict on type. It's strict on the data type that you're using. So but it's the same the syntax and everything is just the same as JavaScript. So for that one, just say no. I think is there anyone facing a problem installing Vue? Npm is not recognized. Did you install a node? So someone is getting here npm not installed because they don't have node installed. Probably you don't have node. Okay. Let me see. Is everyone facing a problem, or so probably this terminal of yours we are using? Let's try on PowerShell. Is there anyone else facing the same problem? npm not running? So this one, I think there's something else you need to do after installing that node. You install it at what time? Today or right now? So these terminals need to be closed and reopened, probably even VS Code. Can just install it right now and expect it to work. So this one is using PowerShell. So you can say here use bash in terminal Windows. Let's see. But even PowerShell has it, right? Because even if I start PowerShell here, then if I say PowerShell has it. Yeah, so let me try this first, because PowerShell has it, so it's supposed to be here. So let me close that and open it again. And then I go to terminal. Should at least give us that. Yeah, so to close it whenever I install it, to just close VS Code and open it again. Yeah, so let's continue. Do that command quickly. We continue. So I hope everyone else has up to here. After you say npm init Vue latest project name, then you say front end, and then add TypeScript. You say no. You can either type no, and I think no is selected, so you can use your arrows to toggle to toggle between the two. So project name, right front end. Just type front end.
In front of this one.
Just type front end. So after that, you'll see there's TypeScript, or someone will take us slow here. So you need to be up and running pretty quickly. So just say no. Whenever it's at no, just press enter. So add JSX support. A lot of these we don't need it, because now what JSX help you do is you write templates, like the HTML templates, you write them as JavaScript, then it will automatically generate HTML for you. So just like it's kinda, you create a JavaScript HTML if there's such a term, and then it will automatically, during runtime, it automatically convert your JavaScript to HTML. So for now I don't need that. Then so just at no, just select that, then add router for single page application. That one is important, so use an arrow forward to select yes, we want to use router. Vue router is whatever helps us, like what we having Laravel web routes and the API routes. It's the same thing. So in Vue, if you want to be navigating from one page to another, you'll need to use the Vue router. So that's why we are having it there. Then add Pinia state management. For state management, I usually use a different package, so I'll not need this Pinia. I don't know where this one came out from. Probably is because of Vue 3, but I've been using Vuex for state management, so I'll select no. I don't want to install things that I don't understand. VTest, I think, is for testing, for doing unit testing for our application. Right now, we are not doing any tests, so you can just say no. Don't install a lot of things that you don't need. Then add an end-to-end testing solution. You can add also site. So this one will give you at least an idea. So if you want to be fully a Vue.js developer, a fully front-end developer, you need to learn like things like this. So it's like giving you some heads up. So like this Cypress is a testing solution you can use. It's a test environment you can use to test a Vue app, or even this Playwright. But for now, because I'm not testing anything, I'll keep it at no. And then there's add ESLint for code quality. Now this ESLint will generally tell you whenever you are having your typos, or maybe when you have not closed an end tag or something like that. It's just notifying you and telling you this one, or even you have created a function in JavaScript and then you don't use it. So ESLint will warn you about that. It's something good, you can add it if you want perfect code. But at times I find it so annoying whenever it notifies you of even some warnings or some errors which are not very serious errors. So here you have your option, you can select either yes or no, but for me I'll just say no, because I don't want to be too much annoyed with it. A lot of times I don't go well with it, because I usually sometimes leave some codes at draft and then I want to come and update them later. So you'll find ESLint won't allow me to run my application. Yeah, so scaffolding project, you see it has done the scaffolding. What I was telling you about frameworks, what they do, they just scaffold. So there it has done scaffolding. So it's telling us go to front end folder and then run npm install and then npm run dev. So you'll find what has happened here is it has created a folder here, a Vue.js folder, and then it has given you some of the structure, like there's the source folder which has the router installed, the view. Remember also this one is like it following the MVC model to some extent. So you'll find there's the view here, you'll find there's a router here, there are components, there are assets, and then outside it there's this package.json. So this is the same as composer.json. So what we are having, like composer.json, it was basically registering the packages that you need. So you'll find like on our initial setup of Vue.js app, we have these package.json created, which highlights what we need in our Vue app. Yeah, you see like the scripts. These are the scripts that we can run. A lot of things has changed. I see even they're using white. Well, okay, that's fine. So I'll need also to brush off on Vue 3 at least to understand some of the changes done. But development is that way. Everything, every new day, new thing is created. So you can get confused if you stay unupdated for some time. So for a developer, you need to be daily updating yourself on the new changes happening. So this is where our dependency will go. Like you see this, we have the dependencies, we have the Vue install and the Vue router. So all other dependencies that we will be installing, they'll be coming down here on this file. Yeah. So that's the reason you're having this file. So running npm install, it will now install these packages. So it will add a folder here, like the vendor folder that we're having. So let's change directory. Say change directory frontend. You can just write some bit of front end and then you tab. That will take you to the entire, it will complete for you. You just say cd front and then you tab and then you enter. So that will take you to the front end app. If you say ls or list, you'll find you can see all those folders that you're having. So if you're inside front end, complete it. Press tab. That's what I'm explaining. If you say, for example, this is a shortcut. Let me just show someone here is doing like a. So if you're saying change directory and then I want to go to front end, it's not a must that you'll write the entire front end file. You just say front and then you tab. It will autocomplete for you and then you enter. You don't need to type the entire word. Yeah. So let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. So out of that, so let's run the second command of npm install for it to install our packages. So say npm install, write it that way. Inside the front end folder, it will start installing those files for you. It will start installing the folders for you. So it will start the installation process. It will start installing the folder for you. Yep. So this one will now install all the packages that we need. As it does that, the same way we did yesterday, let me start explaining for you the folder structure. So let's go here. On this folder structure, I want to show you some things. So there's this front end. So this is the Vue app we are dealing with, front end. So you see what we are running here, it's now creating these node modules folder. So this is where our packages are being added. Is this similar to the vendor folder that we are having on Laravel, where Composer was filling its plugins inside. So here we have node modules. This is where all these packages that we are installing will go into. So I think it has done already. Hopefully yours also is done. So the entry point, again, we start from the entry point to Vue app is this public folder. So it will pick up from public folder. And I think a lot of things have changed really. There is a lot of things that have changed because previously we were having index.js on this public file. Right now we don't have it. But now this is usually the entry point of our Vue application, where when you run Vue build or maybe Vue run, it will find the index file inside public folder. Let's be ready for any surprises. Let me leave it at that so that later on we'll see where it's running it from. Then there's the source file here. So here assets is where you put now your images, your videos, your CSS, your blah blah blah, all those stuff. You can put it inside assets. This is where we save all those tools or assets or files that we need to run our application. Even the JavaScript files, just create a folder here called maybe JS or maybe CSS, blah blah blah, and this is where you can add all of your. So how I like to arrange my project is I just have a folder here, JS. I'll create another folder called CSS, and then I'll create the last folder called images. That's it. So inside here, this is where I'll put all my images. This one I'll put all my CSS, and this one I'll put all my JS files. So that's it. So you can create those folders if you like it. Now next is components. So how Vue works is you create multiple components. For example, if you go to a login page, if you go to a page like, let me just open one sample, let me open this template. So for example, if you are going to this app, which one should we test? Let's test with Gmail. Let's test with Gmail. Let me log out and pretend as if I'm logging in. Or let me try with GitHub. Just show you, just give you an heads up. So on GitLab, if you go to sign in, maybe you want to sign into GitLab, you'll find that, for example, this is a web application. If you go to sign in, you'll find that this is a login form. So you can decide to create various components like these buttons, these input text. You create them as component, or even you say maybe this card, you say this is a create account card, and then say this is the login or sign in card. If you're going to maybe sign up, you can find maybe you have some different components like this one. You can have this as the app bar, this one, and then say maybe this is the body. You can create a component called body, whatever you feel like. Yeah, so you find that the separation of these different components is what build up into a Vue app. So this component basically will help us generate reusable codes. For example, instead of coding these buttons a lot of times, you can create a component here called buttons. Instead of each time you want to display a login, for example, each time you want to display a login or a sign-in page or a forgot password, each time you need to create another file for it. No, so you just create one file for forgot password, or maybe this card for verify you are not a robot or something like that. So once you create that component, you can reuse it. So it helps us do create reusable components. So that's why we are having it there. Don't know why they arrange it that way. Then router, here we have the Vue Router. This is just a JS file, and this one will highlight now all our routes. The same way we are having the API under routes in Laravel and the web.php. The same way we are having now this index. So this is where this is because we installed a Vue Router. If you don't install it, you'll not find it here. So if you just want to create a website without any other routes, but I don't think that will be a practical usability, you can create it. Then here are our views now. So this is the views that we are supposed to see. So let me do this. If your app completed this npm install, I want you to just do the second command. After npm install, we now say npm, was it run? It was npm run. No? You can just confirm on this documentation. So what we are doing is this. We have done npm install, so also you can do npm run dev. So just say npm run dev. Just suppose now, so you see here we have front end blah 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 running on this page, host, press H to help, write ready in blah blah blah. But now it has opened this folder in Vue.js in this port. So you can do control and then click on this. It will open for you into your browser. So it has opened it in port 5173. So if you go to 5173, this is what you'll see. So if you refresh that page, this is our initial Vue application. Amazing. So I think a lot of things has changed. So this is the initial Vue application that you are having. So make sure you have this page before you go to the next step. What's happening? Run dev. So make sure you're there. If you're not there, kindly let me know so that we don't continue if you're remaining aside. So this is how we create Vue application, and to build it, you just say Vue build. So let's get started. Let's check on this. Let's find this. Yes, you did it, and this one, just write your name. So you did it. Let's go to the here on under Vue and homepage. So the entry point for Vue application, let me remind you again. you'll find that this app, whenever you start running this app, it will first try to load this app.vue. So this is the initial page, the like say the home component that's being loaded first. Now, of course, with the help of main.js, this is the one that create a Vue app. This is the command to create a Vue app. So generally, it will start from here. So sometimes you might want to install a plugin across the entire app. You'll need to add them here and import or use them. Like you see, for example, this router is a plugin you have added onto the Vue app. So what happens is you import this router from the router itself, and then here on your app you say use router. So if, for example, you're using something like a calendar, you just say import calendar. You'll see us doing this one from, maybe this one is a package name is called maybe V calendar, something like that. And then you'll now say this calendar, I want it to use it in Vue. So you just come here and say app.use calendar. That's how you'll be doing it if you want to add this calendar. So from there you can now use this calendar keyword in wherever you want to use it, and also you can give it a special keyword here and say I want to call it vcal. So at any time if you say this way, you'll be using vcal at any component that you want. So that's just an example to show you how the importance of this main.js. We'll be doing that when you go along. So let's come here to app. Now this app, this is the entry point. So you can see there's this how Vue.js works. Vue.js has three components. It has the HTML part, that's the template. So it usually has this template. All Vue.js app will have this template. The template part contains the HTML, and then it has the style in one component. So you can be asked the components of a the main components of a view of a, or what's the main sections of a view component. Yeah, so you'll find there's styles. There's a section for styles. You can see from here to here, these are just styles, right? These are just styles, and if we remove them, we'll have removed all the styles. So for example, let me remove these and save. You'll find that this will remove a lot of things in my view. Like you see now, this one went a bit up and stuff. But with this class, you find that you have now, this is where you implement your css and whatever. But remember, for my case, we are having this asset/js, so that's where we'll be doing our css and some of our JS files that we need there. All right, but for this one, because this is a JS framework, you'll find that probably we won't need this JS folder. But why I've added it there is because sometimes you find that you want to add some CDN components. For example, you just want to add Bootstrap outside the Vue itself. So you can just download those Bootstrap files and then add them here, or maybe Tailwind CSS and stuff like that. Or maybe you have the Bootstrap JS files, or maybe you want to do something like displaying graphs, and then there's a plugin that you don't want to use it as a node package, or it's not uploaded into the node package manager. So you can just add it here manually and then call it within your application. Yeah, so out of that, you'll find the next part is the template. We are having all Vue.js component. If you open any of these components here, you'll find they have those three. They'll have template, they'll have the script, and then they'll have the style. But it's not mandatory, but that's the structure, that's the syntax on how to create it. So in here, we started this class at what time? I want us to take at maximum 2 hours. I don't want to exceed that. Yeah, so in here, you notify me if we hit the 2 hours. So in here, you'll find that this you did it. So this one where you have, you go to app, you did it, write it your name. Yeah, just write your name on that. Inside you did it, just write your name and confirm that this one has changed. Those texts are so small. Yeah? Those texts are so small. So go to app. So edit that to point to your say your name, you have successfully blah blah blah. I just want to show you that. So that's the first component that you are having here, called in here. So we are having that as created here. Now notice that we are having this particular root. So this is where the logo is, like this Vue logo. If you comment out this, you'll find that the logo will disappear. So you go to the app. Did you run Vue create app? Vue run app. Are you sleeping or what's happening? So after you run this command, you just say control and click. That's where you open this. Not here, it's here. So this is it. So this needs to have changed. So once you're there, I hope everyone can now see. Whenever you go to localhost 5173, you can see your app with your name. So after you have done that, now we want to convert this into a workable application. So how we do it is, now under this, you see like we have a navigation here called root blah blah blah. That I think is this navigation here, so that you can go to home, you can come back to, so it's like a single page application. You see this one is redirecting us to root or whatever. You can create even another root here. So just do this, go there below that and write a root router link, and then to, let's say 404. So in here we are doing now Vue Router, and then you say this one is 404. Just say error page, or even we can create one for login. Let's say login page. Let's be logic. Just put router link to login, and then you say login page. Once you save that, you'll find there is a link here being created. But again, it's active. It's active. It's active for some reasons. Oh, okay. So the active one is in white, I think, and then the inactive one is in green. Yeah. So you can see we just added home, about, and then there's login. So login will take you to login page. So it's trying to redirect to a login page, which doesn't have any data to display here. So let's display something. Just write login. I didn't say login page. Just write the same way I've done here. Login. So this login will now, this is routing, like this nav. So how router Vue Router, you can go to the Vue Router itself, the documentation itself. You'll see how this one now works. Now router view, this router link is creating a link, a Vue Router link, a Vue Router plugin link. Let me say that way so that it becomes much easier. So this Vue Router is a library we have added into our Vue app, and then to create a link we use router link to create a Vue Router link. That's the way I can explain. Now whatever we are on this, whatever route that we are at, how it's displaying it, it's displaying it inside this view, the router view. So if you do away with this, you'll not be seeing this left navigation. Like if you go to home, you'll not be seeing this. If we comment that out, you'll not be seeing this. So this content that comes here displays because of this router view. And router view, remember, it's imported from here. You can see this router view is here. We have important router link and router view from Vue Router component or plugin. Now, how do we incorporate different pages? That's our next step now. So the next step, so you can uncomment this if you commented it like me. Just want to show you something. So there's a hello world. This is now another view here. You can see there's a folder here for views. So they have created about and then the home view. So the same can happen. You can create now ours called, you can create a new file called login. login view dot view. So this is login view. Just inside that, just write login and forget it, or just say login page and forget that. So create that login view dot view, and then you say just login page. Yep. So that's it. That's it. I'm wondering that on Vue 3 you don't need to do a lot of stuff. All right. So after that, now this router we need to pick it up. Remember, there's a file I showed you here under routers. When you go to router, then index, this is the entry point for the router. So you can see this is how the components are being loaded. Like right now, if I go to login, you'll find my route has changed to login, but I have no item, or I have nothing displayed here. So I want to display it here. So I'll go to router and then index.js. Under this index, I'll create another route here. So just select this up to that, copy, and then paste. Once you paste that, you just say here, this route will be /login, and then change the name also. The name of the route will be login, and then this is now the component. So this component is imported from here. Look fast. I'll leave you to update. I'll take a break. I want you to understand this very well. So here we have created this path. The path is login. The name is login route. And then the component, now you need to import this component, or you import it directly like the way this guy has done here. They have just say component, create a function. This is a voided function, an arrow function. Then you import view.aboutView from views. So you can do this direct importation, which is ready loaded when the router is visited. Blah blah blah. There are some of the explanation why they did this, but usually you'll have problems with this if you're using, maybe say you have integrated a template and then you're using Bootstrap. This one will give you a lot of problems, so note that. So how I like doing it is just importing everything. So in here you'll find that this home view will need to import login view, but now this login view will need also up here to import it. So you just say import, give it a name login view from, where do we find it? So you just go and then it's inside component, it's inside views, right? That page was inside views. If it was inside components, we could go to components. So it's inside view, and then / we called it login page, login view dot view. So that will import it. So let's try it now. So right now it's complaining about something. Yep. So internal server error, the Vite plugin is complaining about our file here. What is it saying? At least one template or script is required. So remember, our login view, the way we created it, this is not the right structure how we create a view component. So how we do it, we are supposed to have three things which I told you. We are supposed to have a template, and then first, before you go there, just make sure you're having this. Just write this. I'll give you some 2 minutes to write this. Just import this component. Make sure you have created this component inside view, login view, and then import it here, and then create this route in the router.index file. Create this route called login. Once you have created that, and in your app you had this route created, router link login, we are good to go. So tell me once you're done with that. View. The view is view. This view. No. Try to use slash. It's not a root. The same way it's here. So copy this. Copy this login view. No. Why have you removed this? The path should have that. The path needs to have this. This sign. but the name doesn't have to contain that. You're so slow. Try to be fast. Views slash should be login view. Look what create login view. Just type it. Login should be login view. You have called it what? Why? Is this one the same as this? Notice that these words, whenever we are saying view and view, there are two different types of views. Yeah? This view, you need to be very careful, and this view, they're just the same. The pronunciation is the same. But for my files, I'm calling them view. And for other things, the app itself is a view app. So I don't know how you differentiate that, but the pronunciation is the same. So once you're done with that, save it and go to, make sure you're having this error. At least one template is required. Save this and go to the browser. So if you are facing this error, now let's go there. Let's sort that error. So inside your view, inside your login view, you just need to type template, and then it will ask you template. Probably if it doesn't ask you for this, so far maybe there's a plugin which have been asked. So go here to plugins. Let me find view. Go to this plugin. Go to this plugin and then install this Vue plugin. Just type Vue here. Then you can install this Vue plugin. You can install Vue language feature. You can install Vue VS code snippet. Install Vue language feature. Install this, and then install. You can install this Vue 3 snippets, and then Vue VS code snippet. Install it. That's it. I think that's what we need. We don't have TypeScript and whatever. Yeah. View format, it's not really important, but it's important when you're formatting your code. So also you can find this view format and install it. So after you're done with that, after you install doing the three, probably one of them will require you to reload. If it asks you for a reload, just reload. But once you're done with that, let's go back. So right now, if you write template here, it should at least give you this heads up on what you need to install. Yeah. No, you don't just click. So make sure you're having something like that. Before you click anything, you can navigate to see what it means. Yeah? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let me just do this without the package. If the package works, well and good. If it doesn't, still okay. You can just continue without it. Yeah, but find out a package that will give you these options. They're very nice whenever you want to do a pretty quick development, because now for me, if I just tap on enter, I'll find all these one populated. I think because of the one of these extensions which I have, or maybe it's Vueter. I don't know. I don't remember. This plugin of which was called Vueter. Was it Vueter? There's Vueter, something like that. Having a lot of it. It has what? Yeah, so it should work. So for some reasons, maybe it will take some time. Maybe it was still installing before you are doing that. But now if you say template, if yours is working well and good, if it doesn't, you'll need to type template and then close template, put a div here. And then say our login page here, just add a text login. So in here, we can create script if we want to, but it's not a must. Yeah, it's not a must we have this script here. But remember the error that you are having. Immediately you are having template. Let's see, the error will have already gone. So if you save that and try to reload your page, did you save? So if you save that and you go back to your page, at least you'll need to see something here. So just say login page, so you can see this login page here. So when you go to home, you can see home. About, you can see about. Login, you can see login. So that's, we are done with Vue Router. As simple as that. That's the entire stuff to do with Vue routing. Yeah. So if you go to Vue Router, in a nutshell, we have already done this Vue Router. We have already done this entire tutorial. So if there's something you're missing out, like the variables, the whatever, I'll be doing them within our tutorial. But just in case you missed something, or maybe you didn't install Vue Router, this is the way you can install it onto your Vue app. You just say npm install router, add this, blah, 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 blah. And then you go here, you'll find the tutorials on how to use it, maybe how to add parameters, stuff like that. So you can take your time, go through the documentation, wherever the things that I've missed out. There's a lot I've missed out, but I've just given you the basics on how you're supposed to do the routing itself. So that's it. So that's how quick this tutorial need to be. So that's the Vue Router. We have done the Vue Router. Now let's do something. Let's try to see to display the students, so that at least if I try to follow my tutorials or our guidelines today. So we have created a Vue app, we have understood the folder structure, we have done the Vue Router. So this is now there. So for Vuex, this is state management. I don't know how best I could explain that. So assuming you went to a bank, explain. Let me just find if there's any graphic that I can show you pretty quickly. So assuming you went to a bank, let me see. So assuming you went to a bank and then you want to withdraw money. Let's say, for example, we take an example let's say we take an example of KCB Bank. So you go to KCB Bank, you tell them I need money. You go to the teller. When you're on the teller, you tell them I need 200 shillings. I need to withdraw 200 shillings. This person needs first to do something. They'll need to first check your balance. I wish I had something that I could. Or will paint help us? Let me try paint. Let me try paint so that we just try and see. Okay. Yep. So assuming now you are one user here, user X. You go to a bank. I don't know if you guys can see this clearly. What am I doing? Really? Why is it having a lot of grids? There's somewhere I just need to set the background or something like that. Where is it? These things, everything has changed nowadays. Everything has changed nowadays. The technology of the old is not. There we are using paint. Right now we are not using it. Yeah. So assuming you are a user, you went to a bank here. What is it? Really, this one give us any nice graphics? If someone knows how to remove these grids, maybe you can tell me. Grid lines, yeah, sure. And then what else? This brush of mine looks. So what am I doing? Yeah? Yeah, sure. So that's what I was looking for. Yeah, so assuming this is you went to a bank. There's a bank here. You went to a bank. You want to withdraw money. So you'll ask in the bank here, you'll find a teller. And this teller, you'll ask them, I want to withdraw 200 shillings. I want to withdraw. You'll tell them I want to withdraw. And then this teller, there's somewhere in the cloud where we have your balance or your account. So this teller will need to go query onto your online account, find the balance, and then after they have returned the balance, then they come and tell you like, hey, you have a balance of 150,000, so you can't withdraw. Or maybe your maximum limit is 150,000, so they'll tell you this. Assuming you have somewhere also, you have somebody somewhere, you want to rob this banker, for example, and then it's querying the same data. It's asking a teller here. Maybe here you are in Mombasa, here you are in Mombasa, and here you are in Nairobi. So you want to ask this teller for another person here, person B, this is person A, wants to again withdraw. He tells a teller here, I want to withdraw 200 bags. I want to withdraw. Also, this person will need now to go check up somewhere if there is a balance, if there is money. And then before this person also, there's a vault in the bank where there's that cash. Yeah, here is where the cash is being stored. So if you want to withdraw 100,000, also they need to check if this money exists in the vault, for example. Vault. Sorry, I'm facing problems. Yeah, vault. Yeah, I think even it's easier if I had that pen or something like that. That's okay. So they'll ask this vault, hey, do you have that money? Then they reply back. Now you'll find that for this to be possible, without any problem or without people stealing, because if we could have such a way, someone would ask you to withdraw in Mombasa and then another person in Nairobi, then before they sync this data, money is stolen. So this is where now state management came into being. It's called state management. So state management, how it works is it manages now the state of your account. It manages this state. So for example, a user has logged in. You want to maybe change their username. Once you change, you'll find that some of the application, because this is single page applications, once you edit a name, like for example, if I change this name to Samson Anami, it should automatically, wherever there's Samson Anami, it will automatically change this name on the entire app. So even here on the bank, if you change your balance, if you withdraw, you had maybe 1,000, maybe you had 1k, and you withdraw to 50, automatically if this person tries to withdraw, it will tell them that the balance is probably 750 or something like that. So this is called state management. How we do state management, I've seen there's another plugin, a new plugin, I don't know, but for me I've used Vuex for that case. Yeah, so it's a topic by itself, but because of our previous apps we have used Vuex, a lot of times I'll try to learn. I'll try to show you what we are having on Vuex. So you can just go to Vuex, see how it's being installed. Installation. You'll find this is how you install Vuex. You just run this. and then that will install for you the Vuex, and then you can start using it. So you'll see it in the application, but this one I'll leave it for you to learn because it's a topic by itself. It just needs some 2 hours to explain it and explain how it works. But just understand that that's what will help us keep the app state management. So it's a state management tool. Once you're asked about Vuex or any state management tool that you have used, just say you have used Vuex. So that's an example I wanted to just explain. So this one, we'll leave it. I'll create a very nice tutorial about it. So here, there's integrating this theme wagon. We'll try it out, but let's first try these Axios to access our APIs. So let's go to our APIs first. We had our APIs here on localhost, then intern, then API student, for example. Intern API should be public, then student. Public. Mila, don't worry. We'll just we just display some of our data. So now, for example, let's try integrate a theme so that we go one by one. We try by integrating a theme, and then we try to load our app now. So this one, we had something called students. I don't know the best way to show you these. Student. I don't know the best way to show you this. Was it student? Public. Oh, there's API. And then student. So this one should display for us a number of students. A localhost, I think my localhost has a problem, but I'll find a third-party software that we'll be using. Yeah, so after that, we have just done routing. So let me go back to my app, my Vue app. Where is it? It's somewhere here. Yeah, this is my Vue app now. So let's now get rid of this and try to integrate a theme or a template within it. So this is how you create. So for example, you want a new component here. What will happen is you'll just go in here, create a component in here. Say maybe I want a login component or maybe a login card, but I'll show you that as we go on to integrate a theme. But for now, what I want you to do is this. So once you're inside this app, there's a way this app has been created. You see they have added this router within it, blah blah blah. But for me right now, I want to do away with this and try to integrate a theme. How do you do that? So let's go in here and go to theme forest and find a very nice theme. Not theme forest, but theme wagon. I was seeing this because it's a bootstrap theme. This one called Rau Bootstrap. No, this one. Skydash. Let me share this link on the group. Skydash. So click on that Skydash. You'll find this Skydash here. So I'll want to just download this. Let me see. So that's just go here, click it and download. Let me share this. Forget about the first link, just go to the second one. That will automatically take you there. So once you click on that, just download that theme. So it will download this entire theme for you, and then that's what now we will be working on. There's something I'm not seeing here. What will happen now? All right. So I think one more change that happened is, if I'm not wrong, you see this index on Vue 2. You'll find in a lot of my application this index is inside this public. That is something I've noticed. This index in Vue 3 is removed from public and then taken out here. So let me show you an example with my previous app. What's the problem? Downloading after. As it's downloading, let's be looking up to this. So if I open one of my previous app that I've done, just as an example, you'll find that this one I was using create app for Vue 2. So you'll find that inside this public, there is assets and then there's this index. So this index file previously was created inside the public folder. But right now, notice that they have taken it out to here, somewhere here. So you see in my app, there is no index here. So notice that when you're maintaining this app that I'll hand over, you'll have index inside public. So don't find it outside, but find it inside public. But for this Vue 3 that you have created, it's outside. So it's here, index is here. So this index is the entry point that I was looking for. So if you go to your application, this app, you'll find, like, for example, this Vue app, call it maybe, let's call it EduSpace. Change this, go to index file, and then change this to EduSpace, because that was our app we were creating, EduSpace. Call it EduSpace. And I want you guys to continue this EduSpace and create a very good school management system. What will happen is you will follow this eSchooly. You'll follow this template. Just create a free account on this and then follow up on this template. That will give you a very nice outlook on how a school management system needs to be like. So you can test with that and create a similar app like that. Let me share it on the group. Let me share that also. So eSchooly will give you all those. You can create a free account and try out with their features and see. So it will create for you all those student management applications. So you can call this EduSpace. Once you call it or EduSpace, maybe say EduSpace Home, or something like that. EduSpace Home. EduSpace Home, something like that. So you'll find this title will change. So also you can change your icon from here. Everything, this is the entry point of your application. And notice that it will call the first module as main.js, source main.js. That's what I told you in here. Source is the entry point for the JS part. Yeah, is the entry point for our JS part. Add your brightness a bit. It's the entry point for the year. So let's integrate this theme. So once it's downloaded, I hope you has completed to download. It's done downloading this Lodash. Just open it. Once you open it, extract it. You just say extract to where? Extract to that folder of yours inside SAMP. Inside SAMP. Inside intern htdocs, and then intern. Inside intern, then front end. I just want it to be exactly inside front end. So extract it there. This is the file. Extracting here. So you'll have to copy it again.
Take it to htdocs.
It's much easier too. You could just open this and then extract to. You're tensed. You're tensed. Why are you doing some, it's like drama work? htdocs. And then you called it what intern. Then inside, where is your front end folder? It's internship.
This one intern API.
Yeah. Why do that? Why do that? So I think I just explained very well. I just explained it very well that inside intern, this is where we are creating our front-end app. You can't create front-end app inside API app. What are you doing? What are you doing? So that means you're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Let's do your things. So make sure you have this folder structure. That's why initially I explained it very well. You have API here and then front end. Separate. We are not doing API. So you can't add this front end inside API. Now open this in VS Code. Yep, so I hope you're together, guys. So let's try out this. So once you go to your front end, you'll find this sky dash. So this is our theme. A lot of times you'll find in my application, I'll rename these to theme. Yeah? So you'll find a folder here, created and written theme. So if you find such a folder in any of the apps that I create, just know that the original theme is inside here. So I'll rename this and call it theme, and then I'll add all these components in here. I'll add it inside theme. Let's not do that for now. Let's just continue. So once you're there, so this Lodash, you can just open it, the folder itself, and then try to run, try to open that HTML. So it will give you a very nice, go to the folder itself,
Okay.
go to the folder, just go to the folder itself and open the index.html. Open index.html. So that you'll be able to see that theme. So let's find the login page. They must have a login page somewhere here. Let me just find it in a second. Yeah, there's user pages. Go to user pages and then login page. Yeah, so this is the login page. So let's implement this. Let's start from this. Let's start from this. So this is inside samples and then login page. But before then, let's first try and display. Let's first try and yeah, let's just create this login. So under this login.html, what we need to do is what do we do? Yeah, that's usually not my entry point in any application, but for this one I'll just try this, or maybe we try home first. We just try to display all the students. Let me see. Where is the table? Basic elements. No, tables, basic tables. Yeah, so let's try and create this. Yeah, let's just have this theme integrated first. Let's integrate this. So what we'll do first, you go to your IDE, find this Lodash. You'll see there are CSS here, and then there are JS, and then there are images. Those are the most important bits that we need to know to pick them from. There is SESA. I don't think it's important. There's vendor, which I think it's important. So what I just need you to do is click Control and then select vendor. Just select vendor. It's important, even the partials and stuff, but you do that in components. So just select vendor. When pressing Control, select JS, select fonts, select images, and select CSS. I want us to copy those. So copy that, Control C, and then come and place it inside public. No, you created assets somewhere. Yeah, so inside assets, remember inside source / assets. Or no, wait a minute. Let's just put them inside. Let's just put them inside public. Just go inside public, paste them there. Just paste everything inside public. Those folders that you have copied, just paste them inside public. Oh, I copied even partials. Are supposed to be there. So make sure you have that vendor, JS, images, fonts, and CSS under that. And then we go to open the index file. No, not really. Just find this basic table .html under table. So what you just do when you're on this IDE, just press Ctrl P and then paste that name, or just say basic/table. Just write basic-table. You'll find the first one will be that HTML. Just click on it to open it. So there are some things we need to do here to integrate this theme or this template. So we want to separate these into a number of number of components. So just a second, just take a little break. Just take some 3 minutes break first. I'll take that commercial break. I pick it up something and then we continue from there. Let's continue. So once you're having that, let's open something here. We are having this. So this Lodash, you'll find these are basic HTML for these basic tables. So I just want to pick some of these, and these ones I need to add them into the index file. But now I just need to know the entry point. For example, if I pick all of these, but that one won't work. It will just destroy our app. So what I'll just do in this index, the index that we are having, I'll just add what is not here from our theme. But remember, you see this class called div, this division called app. This is important. If you remove this from your app, it won't load your app, because the entry point for our app, you see, like if I reload that right now, it won't load our app because our entry point is this app. Even if you change this name, to a different name, the entry point is app. So without this app, it won't be able to load. But if you have the right name, it will be able to load. So that's because it's finding this element by the name app. So that's why I'm not replacing the entire file. I just want to pick what I don't have. So let's start from here. So from here, you'll see I'll need to pick these plugins, blah, 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 until here to favor icon. So I'll just copy that and then paste it here. But remember, we haven't set these links. Yeah, this this one is like going back one directory, two directory, then finding vendors. So you'll have to check that at some point. But I'll want to do that immediately to all the files. So just after copying that, we save it. No change. Let's continue. I've copied everything. No? I've copied everything. Plugins and up to the shortcut icon. Once you copied that, paste it inside your index. I wanted this to take 2 hours, but I think it won't take 2 hours. It take like 3 to 4 hours, because I have to wait for someone here to do some stuff. Yeah. So after that, you find that this vendor will not be found, because this one now is trying to go out, down, down, down. So if you inspect your app right now, if you go here and try to inspect your app, let me just load this stuff on Chrome, so that at least I have one access point. Let me just have it here. Let me remove that, remove this, remove that, remove this, remove that. I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this also, because we are done with that. I'll paste this here. So this is my app. So let me inspect. At least we have one view. So if you inspect this and try to load it, there are some of the things which will complain. If you go to network here, a lot of things will complain. a lot of things will complain. If you say all, you'll find there's a lot of 404s, yeah, like these items like this feather, you see, like feather, this one not found, blah blah blah, because these items won't be located inside our app, so you need to redirect them to the right folder. So as you know, in Linux and other file directory, this one goes backwards. So, but for me, I don't want to go backwards. I want to find the exact point where vendor is from this index. So because I added them in public, so I'll just go index public. So I'll just go inside public, and then I go inside vendors. So what I'll just do, I'll just change these to public/vendors. Public to vendor. That one will point to my right folder, and then the same to this, and then the same to this. So that will go now to my exact folder. But now wait a minute. What I think is this public is being loaded automatically, but I can see some change. So probably, yeah, let me see something here. It could be, yeah, it needs to be public, but now wait a minute. I see feather.css. Let me just confirm something. Yeah, we'll know whenever we're getting there, we'll know if this one worked, or we'll need to just mention, because now remember this index was removed out of this public. So most probably, let me found one, favicon. Perfect. So this will help you know how you are calling that. For example, this is the favicon. How they have called it, they've just said favicon. That means automatically this app is loading at public. So we don't need to specify this public. So we just need to say vendor slash something. You see it? The same way they have done favicon here is the same way now we need to call the rest, because favicon is inside the public folder. So we just said inside public, we just say vendor slash that. Yeah. So this one is the correct way that you're supposed to have it. So inside that, we have imported the first part, the first bit. Let me just go home here. Yeah. So we have imported the first bit. On your app, go to your app and then remove all these classes in here, because now this one you don't need it. You don't need these styles. Remove it there. That will give you something like that. And then also now on our home page, we want to display the login page. So all these will not need all of these stuffs. Will not need them. All the only thing that we need here is this router, because now this one is what displays this. But for this header part, we don't really need it, so I'll remove that. So I'll just remain with this part. So this part is displaying whatever you're having here, which is probably the hello world. Even this one you can do away with it and then reload, so it'll be there. So this is how your app will be looking like. So remove the routers, remove all those other stuff. It can't load because you didn't rerun that app. So you need to open terminal and run that app again, because you closed your terminal. So run that app, npm run dev, run dev. Let your app be like this. Remove all those unnecessary classes from headers. Remove the entire headers section. Remove the hello world. You need to sit sometimes whenever I'm coding and just look at what I'm doing. Just bila kufanya anything, you just check on what I'm doing. You'll notice a lot of shortcuts to do those stuff so that you become a bit faster. So Alex, notice that the reason why I wanted you to do this as I'm doing is because I wanted you to increase your speed in coding, your speed in development. You need to be very efficient and very fast when it comes to editing. Learn that editor properly, be a pro in it, waste a lot of time in it, in understanding it, so that you don't have a problem in editing your source code. The only problem that you're having is to think, how is this app going to work, and fixing those bugs. You just don't concentrate on now the IDE itself. Okay, so that's where we are. So this is the app that we are having. Now we want to integrate now this app of ours. So let's go here. So after this head, just make sure everything like this CSS, you have just removed this double something. Just remove all these redirects. Just say that's it and that's it. So you have all the CSS and stuff. So our file needs to be like that. Now let's go on. In here now, inside our app is where now we need it's where now all that Vue Router stuff is being loaded. You see this Vue Router automatically, these templates automatically will load wherever the page that you're calling, whatever the route that you're calling, it will load the content in here. So this is where the content comes. Yeah, this is where the content automatically, without you doing it. So you won't code anything inside here. So but now notice that this is where now we want all our content to be. So let's first edit our home page so that our home page only contains our login page. So instead of this, let's replace this with what we are having at on this basic table controller and stuff. So let me do this. Let me also remember, after the body there's this HTML. You can just pick it from leave this container scroller, pick it from plugin.js, pick it up to here, pick the HTML. Which problem? You created errors and bugs. Why did you import it twice? Vue Router from something. There's something I changed here. Okay. There's something I changed here. Vue Router link. Wait a minute. Has already been declared. Should work right now. Okay, so copy this below body. You can open this basic table. So open basic table and copy this. Minimize this. Copy this part from here to here. So copy that and add it onto your app. Add it into your app, into your index.html, just below, just before you close the body. After the module is being imported, main.js, paste whatever you're having here, and then also do the same. You can just find that and replace it with nothing. Yeah, you can find and replace with, or maybe replace with you can just find these and replace with nothing. How to select. What you just do, you select whatever you want to replace. You just select whatever you want to. For example, let me just show you in a second. You just select what you want to replace. I want to replace this with an empty. So you just select that and then you say Control F. That will automatically find this for you. You just say I want to replace this, so you just say Control F. This is not shift. Then you say Control F and then you say replace with nothing. then you click, you say replace with nothing, and then you click on this to replace all. That's the quickest way to do that. So that we are done with that part. Now if you reload, still the same page. Now let's add that table of ours onto the home page. So close that index. You can close, remain with the table. Now let's go to our app where we are loading the index. So let's go to router.index. Router.index, we see. So home page loads a component called home view. So copy this, Control P, and then paste, and then open this. So this is what is displaying on our home page. So this documentation, blah blah blah, it exists on this home page of ours. So let's find it. So this is a component. This person created a component called the welcome. The welcome is a component. So if we comment that out, this page won't have anything, because this component we are getting it from the welcome. So let's find this the welcome. You can click on control and then control click to open this. So you'll find this is where now we are having all those documentation on this the welcome page component. So let's create now our component inside here, so that we don't use this the welcome blah blah blah, but rather we create our own component. So what I'll just do, instead of even deleting, I just create new file and say table component or maybe let's say home component, home component, home component. Just create that dot view, or you can even view, just don't do anything, just view. So you can create this home component dot view. Once you create this home component dot view, you can now have the same way we are creating templates and stuff, the same way. And then now let's call this, let's say this is our custom template. So if you say this is our custom template, and then we go to our home page and just say here, instead of this, we want to import a certain component called home component. That's the name we'll give it. From where? From components dot home component. That's what I want to import. So instead of this, I'll just do away with that, and then I'll I'll replace it with this home component. So let's see how our page will behave. Now you see it's custom template. That's the exact thing I've written under our home template. So I've replaced the content that we were having previously with this. Now this is where now I want to integrate my theme. So what I'll just do, I'll just pick this. This is where now I need my theme to be. So I'll just go to the basic table and copy everything that we are having inside here. This class, container, scroller, blah blah blah. Let me just copy the entire stuff which is there on the body. So this will go into our inside our app. It will replace that. So let me just do that first. I'll paste everything here, then refresh. So you'll see already we have started seeing some changes in terms of, I think my machine is in dark theme, right? Dark theme, that's why we are having this dark display, probably. So if I say light, yeah, it should be light. Yeah, so this is how it should be on your machine for the light theme. Yeah, so you can see we already have started seeing some changes. Yeah, you can see we are now having the theme in place. So it's just some few things we need to do, like for example, in here we have this container. So if you're having this outer, so we can do away with this division and just see how it displays. So that's it. So we are having some spaces in here. We need to find that space and probably remove it. How will we do that? Maybe we go to the app and see router link. Let's go to index.html and see. So this one, id app blah blah blah. You're okay with that? Yep. So go here, save that. Go here on router link, don't have anything to change. Yeah, so home view display the home component, and this is the home component. Yeah, so there are some of the things which we need to do, because there's something which is taking up our space somewhere. We need to find it. So inside body there is, you can just inspect and go here. There is app, so you can see app is the division ID. App is kinda, yeah, so you see this main, so the main is this main is kinda taking our like bringing our app into a container or something like that. Okay, I see. All right, I see, because we had zoomed out. So let's just compare these to make sure it's the same as what you are having here on the tables. I think pretty much similar to some extent, but not really working as expected. Maybe because there's one or two plugins which are missing, or maybe some things which are missing. Anyway, this is an example of how we can implement, or how we can integrate a template into our app. So what now needs to be done is, there are things we call layouts. So we need to create layouts to set these aside, like this navigation bar. We create a component. So what we just do, we just create here a component. You can create a component here, call it new file. We say drawer, or we just say nav drawer view. So this is how now reusable components work, because in all tables you'll not need to create these all these stuff. So you can just find from this dashboard. Let's find dashboard. Where is dashboard? Yeah, so this is the sidebar. So this sidebar, we can add it in our this sidebar. We can remove it and add it in our component. So let me see. So it's removed. So you can just say nav drawer. That side menu, you can say nav drawer. We'll create this component, we'll import it, but for now let's go to nav drawer and paste that here. So we'll just say template, and then I paste the entire stuff here, what I had, that nav. So that's my component. So also here on JS, sometimes you need to export it. You just say script, and then say this one export default, something like nav drawer. You just give it, or say default, and then you give it some name. You say this is called nav drawer. So there's that structure on how this is created, and this is where now we can code the rest of the VueJS stuff. So out of that, let's just import this component in here. So we have called this nav drawer. So let's go to imports. So we just go down to the last of this, and then create. There's template, then there's script. So we just create script. Then inside here we say import nav drawer from. So this is inside components. So if you just say that way, it will be on this folder. Then you say nav drawer. So once we import this, and then you say export default. This one also you can check it on the app itself. Yeah, you can see how they have done on not even app. Let me find one theme which has done this. No theme has done that, so it's okay. Just do export default, and then we'll have components here. So this one will give you the snippet for Vue 3. So you can add that. So you need to import this component and then call it in here. So let's refresh and see. So you'll see my page is back to normal. But now this one is a reusable component. So I've just created this left navigation bar. These are reusable components. So if I comment it out, this, you'll find that it is removed. But if I bring it back, you'll see it will load. So that means this now I can reuse this. For editing, I'll just edit this one component and the rest of the page will be loaded automatically. So that's how we create reusable components. So you can do the same on the pages, on the tables and whatever. But for us today, I just want to show you the last thing on Axios. So I want to remove some of these tables, these basic tables and stuff. Or let me just remain with basic table. So I'll just remove the rest of these. Just remove the rest of these below the basic table. I just have to remove all of them. So that's how we integrate a theme. And now this is my table. So this one I'll just say it should be 12. This is now Bootstrap. So I hope Dina and Alex will learn a bit about the Bootstrap itself. I don't know why this space is coming here, but we'll find out why. So later on, this one will perfect this theme to an extent that we will be able to at least showcase as a very nice application. So let's now try display all our students, the students that we are having on our APIs. Let's now try and display them here. Let me see. I don't know, my MySQL and Apache seems to be stopping. I don't know, because I'm installing some things. Maybe it's because of that video recorder. Because right now, if I try in turn, if I try this, let me see if it will connect to the database. Use API and then student. Can't connect. The reason I don't know. So I'll use one of the. Let me find one of the Bula co.ke /API/public /API/login users login user. Just a second, I try to find something here. I'm just trying to find if there's a way we can use another API to complete that part of the tutorial, and then we call it a day. I'm trying to pick some shortcuts so that at least you have a general idea, so that when you're learning through, at least you know what to expect or what to learn through. So I'll just do this, and then I want some. There's a user login. So it's called user login. Yeah. So this is what I want. Yeah. So this is a sample API that I want us to use, which lists all the users, right? So if you go to this API, it will list for you all the users. So we are having a list of users. So let's try and display all these users inside this table. That's our task for today. Once we're done with that, we'll perfect this theme later on and try to make it a fully working app. So let's go. So this is the basic table. It's inside. This basic table is here inside this one. So let's call it users list. Users list. And then this users list will have a number of things inside it. But now I want to show you the next part of our tutorial, which is now calling the APIs, like using the APIs, because it's a sprint. So in here, under the JavaScript, how Vue framework arranges its JavaScript items is there are ways. There are things called hooks or lifecycle method. It's called lifecycle methods. This one should be commented out. Yeah, lifecycle methods. Yeah, so there's something called hooks or lifecycle methods, like created, generated. This example of this is things to do like created, mounted, whenever this app mounts. So you learn that, you'll find it in documentation. And then there's something which called methods. We need to create methods, but before all these, before methods, there's something we call data. This is where we store our data. Store or define and store. See, this is where we define and also store our current component data. And then there's method. This is where now we define functions and handlers for different actions, for different actions, including fetching data. Hapa ndo tuko na kufetch data, updating, deleting, blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's important if you at least learn that. And then there's the part for components. So I forgot these components. This is where we define the different components. So this is just the parts of the JS part of the JS section. These are just the parts of these JS sections. So you'll find that inside these, as I've just done export default, and then there's this component. So even also you can give this a name. You can say this component name is called home component, so that when you are importing it, it will look for this name, yeah, home component. Yeah, so that way we just say the name is that, this is the component. So in here we'll have the methods, right? The methods. Before the methods we have the data, right? The data that way, separated with a comma, of course. Yeah, what else? There's methods, then there's hooks. These hooks is like whenever this page is created, for example, let me do one for you. Whenever this page is created, that's an example of a hook. What do I want to do? Maybe let's console log. Let's say console.log. Hey, our app worked. Just worked, right? Let's see if this one will do the first one, so that you see how this one. So whenever this component is created, there's also mounted. You can say also whenever this stuff is mounted, whenever it's done loading its component, you can do blah blah blah. Whenever it's created, you can do blah 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 blah. So you can say even this one is mounted. I've just mounted. The app just worked. That's for whenever we do a create. Yeah, so let's see this in the app itself. So let's inspect in here. Something is not right because I'm supposed to see my screens here. Data option that calls a function, probably the way I've defined that data is probably wrong. Where is it? This data should be a function, I think so, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and then this one, be it a function, it will return something. Now it will return an object. I think that's how it should be. Yeah, so that was my error. Yeah, so you see here we have this one. Hey, our app just worked, and then hey, our app just mounted. So after the component is created, it will give us this. After the component is mounted, it will give us this. So there's a lot of these hook, what we call hook or lifecycle methods. So you'll go to your documentation on Vue and find lifecycle methods. So these are just lifecycle methods. I think I wrote it. Yeah, lifecycle methods. Just find it on the Vue documentation. You will see there's mounted. So you can say, hey, mounted. This is whenever it's mounted. Then you say our app just created a component. Yeah, this component was just created. So if you run that, whenever this component is created, you can see these messages. But if you are in a different page which doesn't have this component, for example, our login page doesn't have that component, so we'll not be seeing any message here. But if we are on the home, the component that loads this table, you can see this one. So that one is a surety that your VueJS app is working as expected. Now let's start fetching data. So how do we go? How do we go? How do we go? How do we go? No worries, no worries. No worries. Yep, so that's okay. So Mila just left, network broke. That's okay. Yeah, so now in here we are having this app created. So what we'll do now, we want to load this using Axios. So I just said we use Axios to be doing our API calls for API calls. So let's use that. Let's try that out. So now I want a method first to load all the, so this is how I define a method. So we say get users, for example. Get users, that's a function. We just define it as that. Yeah. So get users. So how do you get users? We need to use axios.get blah blah blah. So what we'll just do, I'll just first need to use Axios. So let me go to Axios documentation and find it. I like using the documentation because at times it's much easier to explain. No, not that. Note that. So npm install Axios. This is the command to install Axios. So what I'll just do, just go to my app. Then instead of closing my app, I'll just open another terminal, and then say go to front end, and then run npm install Axios. So how it's used, you just say, you just import it, and then this is a minimal example. So you can say require Axios, but for me I'll do an import, and then this is how you get a data. So we can just use this basic example. For example, this is how we get data, how we fetch data. So instead of doing this constant Axios require Axios, what you can just say is we import. So now up in here, we can just say in here, we can just say import Axios, Axios from Axios, right? That's it. So we have imported Axios there. So now let's come to using it. So just copy one of these and just say there. So when you get users, you just Axios get users. But now this, we need to give it the right URL. Yeah? So what's your URL? We just come here and pick this URL and say use this here. So you just get these users, and then after we get users, let's log this response. But before we log it, let's group this. Let's do a grouping and say user, so that at least we have a nice display. So let's get this response output on our page and see. So let's reload this page. Where is it? This one. So I'll just go back here, and then I'll just reload this. But then remember one thing, we have created that method, but we have not called it. So how do we call it? We just say this get user whenever this page is mounted or created. So let me use this created. Whenever this page is created, call this function. But now we need to say this dot get users to get that function. So let's see. Let's refresh. So you'll find yeah, so these are our users. You find users, data, and then you'll see our response comes here. So this is what we want to display on our table. Let's do that. So let's pick this data and save it somewhere. All right, so let's create some data here. That's why we are having this data section. So you just say here we have all the users. Users will be an empty array, so we just modify that. So you just say these users, you just come here. This response, the same it is, so I want this data, right? So what I'll just do, I'll go to response.data.data.data. Let me say .data and see. Let's reload. So you'll find that this is response.data.data, correct? So that's it. So we'll just say this one is equals to, so I'll say this dot users is equals to response.data.data. That's it. So that's how we display those users. That's how we have set these users to be that data. So we have set this variable to be that data. So let's display it somewhere. So let's close this. Let's just display it just above user list here. So let's find user list. User list. Users list. Yeah, so above here, let me just display it here. So how you display data, you just use these double curly braces, and then you paste your variable, your data variable here. So you'll find that if I do that, I'm supposed to see that this dot users is equals to blah 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 created and just a second, let me console log users here. Probably there's something we are missing out. We are supposed at least to see those users. Property of undefined, setting users. So property of undefined, boom. So we are having a problem somewhere. Probably this data, the way you have defined data is the wrong way. Let me find out from a previous, we find it from a documentation. Not really, but it's okay. That's the best way of doing it. VueJS. Let's see. That data, I think I just missed something small, something very small. Data return this one. This is how it's supposed to be created. So I don't think we made a mistake. So let's just find data and then return and then users. Return users. That should be okay. So probably, why is it okay? Methods. Let me find methods. Methods. And let me see, creating an application. Just want to find methods. No, let me just confirm from a previous app that I have to save on time. Let me just do this and say let me just find one here and say methods. Yeah, so methods is well defined, so we defined it well. Just confirming methods is this Axios console. Okay, I see where I've done the mistake. It's not even on the app itself, but rather on my, that error is misleading. Let's see. Let's see now. Mounted users, property of undefined users. Let's see this line. Response dot, so this dot user does not exist. This dot users, but users exist. So why? Do you mean there's something makes sense? Or what am I doing? Yeah, so it's supposed to be this dot users is equals to that. And the way we do data is just say return blah blah blah. That's how it's supposed to be. So guys, probably there's a problem here which you need to find out why this is misbehaving, or probably because of what. Yeah, let's find out the error where it is. Probably something is not initializing for a reason. So let me just find an example here of Axios Vue 3 example. It's much easier to find it. Probably there's a problem somewhere. Then response.data. Okay. Let's do this. Because this one is there's something called async await. So probably this one will not take this variable here because it's a synchronous function, because you see there's then here. Then here means just go learn about asynchronous JavaScript, because this is a promise which expects some data back. So what we need to do in here, instead of doing that, we'll just say return this. Just say return this. You can just do that, and then say this dot users is equals to Axios slash that. Let's see how it works. Yeah, so it has returned a promise in here, right? Yeah, so you can see this is a promise, yeah, but we need to pick it up from here. Yeah, so if this one is success, then but this one should be able to return these users, but let me find why it's not giving us that data. Probably I'll spot the problem that I'm making, or probably my mind is tired. Probably my mind is tired a bit, but let's do this. Let me test with one. So return this, get users, so it should work. For example, this is these that users, so I've used it within the Axios itself, so that one should work. That one should not be a problem. So let's see. So this one, these dot users should be equal to that. It must work. And this dot get given. Let me say return. Add return here. Let me just see. Yeah, so cannot set property of undefined this dot user on this line. Probably there's a mess we are making, or less. Let me just use the exact method that I'm having here. Let me just find one here. This is the last step, so probably that's why it's becoming a bit tricky. Okay, I know what we'll do. I've called it differently, so I'll just say this dot user. Let me just say here, I pick this. I just say return. This one should return user, so this one will be not usable. So I'll say this return this, and then I say here on Axios, I just say this dot user is equals to, I wait for this, yeah, because it's asynchronous. So I'll just say async await, yeah, because I'm loading from a database, so I'll have to wait for this. So this async await means this is asynchronous JavaScript, so this one will run until it gives me some data back. That's when I'll now set this user and go on. Let's test that. Yeah, so you'll find this is users. Let's see where our users is getting lost. Let's console log users somewhere down here. After this Axios, I want to console log I want to console log users. Is it here? This is for catching errors and stuff. This is for response, and then sync await users. Sync await. Yeah, so this is the end of it. So sync await. Yeah, so before this I can say console dot log these dot users to just see whatever I'm getting. Mounted. So this user is undefined. Why? Wait a minute. Something tracked. Yeah, so let's load and see. Yeah, sure. So that's how it's supposed to work. I think because of that, then was executing some of its own things. Yeah, so this is a asynchronous JavaScript. This is a promise. So instead of returning a promise, just wait until you get this response here. That's when now you can return with the response. But remember, this is not the best way we are supposed to do it, because even you are supposed to handle the error in case there's an error. Instead of loading the users, you just give an error. But this is just a simple way on how to display it. So these are the users. So our users are being saved to the data, and then this is what now we are seeing on our page, because I've just outputted, I've just added this as an output here. So we have now that users variable. We want to populate it here. So what I'll just say is maybe the ID of the user under this table. Now I'm on the table header. So ID user, I'm changing this. So I say ID user, username, and then created, and then status, something like that. So I'll come here, instead of having all these data, all of these, I'll just create one loop to loop through all that data. So read about loops a bit in JavaScript. So in JS, how we do a loop is, for example, right now we are having this data alone. So instead of multiplying these to many, I'll just create a for loop here. So how we do it in Vue, we say v for what? Now I have this item and I have the index in what? I have this one in users. Users is my array, or my object, my array that I'm looping through. And then this item, now I can display even this. Instead of Jacob, I can just say da 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 da, and then display the item. So if I run this, it should be able to display this. You see, like, this item is displaying multiple times and giving us the last result here. So it's displaying like multiple times, trying to find that. So it's trying to loop through to the end. Yep. But now what I want to do is, for each of these, I want to display something. But then this one also, you need to give it a key so that it just becomes unique. At times the JavaScript will complain. So this is the index that I created. So I just say items in index. Go and read v4 in JS. You'll see how it's supposed to be. So that's why I'm creating a unique index for each of these rows so that they can display. You see, if I don't have these, you'll see there's an error. It will just is like the unique key for the row. So it will just go and create some funny data. Don't know how I can explain that to you, but anyway, this is how it's supposed to be. You just have the key here, then display all this data. Then out of that you create. Now I want to output these data. So this is item, but it's displaying the entire item. So I need the first name, last name, email, yeah, and auto ID. So let me start from the auto ID. We say the first one was ID, so this ID will come as auto ID, whatever the thing that you want to name it, and this is the name. So inside the name, the second row, we just say item dot, we start with the first name, then this first name we can concatenate it to the second name, right? There's a mistake here, so this is the first name, and then we can concat with the last name. Just say that first name, can add a space and say last name. That's not the best way of doing it, but just to make it quick. Then this one you can add the email for the user, so you can say item.email. Then we change this one to be email, right? Yeah, that's it. So let's remove this data that now. This is where now you can put all those actions like edit, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So this is the user. So we have managed to display all our users in here the way we are supposed to be. So that's a sample way of using Axios and where Axios becomes applicable. So up to there, I think this has been too long than expected, but that's okay. So at least up to there, we have displayed, we have used Axios. Let's follow. So we have used Axios to fetch from our API. We have done some Vuex, some basics on the Vue. We have done Vue Router. We have understood the folder structure, and we have integrated a template. Though not perfect as at now, but at least we have that working prototype. So we can work from there, format the login, format the whatever. So what I'll just be doing, I'll just be assigning you guys on that, and then we'll see. So I'll upload everything on this, even this video and the files to GitHub and YouTube, so that you can have a look and you can follow through. So let me, for that, let's meet in the next tutorial. Goodbye. So let me stop this first, and then I stop this.